gotta catch 'em all. That was the slogan of Pokemon back in the day. It was said in the anime intro, on the box art, and it was a true completionist goal. Now, I have recently been playing a lot of Generation 5 Pokemon, as they are just really good games. My favorite in the series overall, especially Black and White 2. As I was playing, I thought to myself, what would it take to complete the Pokedex for these games? When I thought of this, I decided to do some research to find out how difficult it would end up being. That little thought in my head escalated into this video where I detail exactly what it would take if I were to, or if you were to, go and try to complete the Pokedex. Something I want to say before we get into things is something that might confuse you guys a little bit, but as of this video being made, I have not completed this task. I was originally going to complete it and then make this video, but while researching what I would need to do, I realized that it would be a really long task, so I decided I'd make this video just detailing what would need to be done to complete the Pokedex while I do it, rather than just completing the Pokedex and then making the video. This allows me to make this video much faster and allows me to get one more upload before the end of the year. Also, sorry for the fact that some of the footage doesn't look as good. The footage of the games in this video is a mix of what I've captured on emulator and what I've recorded with my phone on an actual system. One final thing to note is that this video will be split up into multiple different sections, as this is a big task, so breaking it down to smaller parts will be easier. Alright, so section 1, completing the regional Pokedex in Pokemon Black and White. In these games, there are 156 Pokemon in the regional dex, all of which are brand new Pokemon, a record for the series. Just as a side note, I will be excluding all mythical Pokemon from the Pokedex as you can no longer obtain them without cheats. Because of this, 4 Pokemon, being Victini, Meloetta, Genesect, and Keldeo, are taken off, meaning that there are now 152 Pokemon to get. So starting a new game immediately brings you to the choice of starter Pokemon, meaning that right off the bat there are 6 Pokemon we can't get in one playthrough. For me, I chose Tepig as my starter. Because of this, the entire Oshawott and Snivy line is impossible to obtain, leaving us at just 146 Pokemon that we can get. Another unobtainable Pokemon is one that actually surprised me, and that is Zorua and its evolution Zoroark. In Pokemon Black and White, the only way to get these Pokemon is through events. To get a Zorua, you actually need to transfer up an event Celebi from the Generation 4 games and speak to someone at the Game Freak headquarters to get it. Zoroark can only be obtained using another event legendary Pokemon from Generation 4, being the event Shiny Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. In Generation 4, there's an event where if you went to a GameStop between certain dates, you could get a shiny legendary beast. The one you got depended on what time you went there. If you transferred one of those up to Generation 5, you could get a Zoroark in the Lostland Forest. So this brings our total down to 144 Pokemon. Luckily for us, there's only one issue with gift Pokemon that we have left. In the Relic Castle, there's a hiker who will give you the choice between the cover and plume fossils. The one you don't pick becomes unavailable, so if you pick the cover fossil like I did, Archon and Archeops are not obtainable. If you pick the plume fossil, Tortuga and Caracosta also can't be obtained. That brings us to 142 Pokemon left. Luckily for us, all other gift Pokemon are either obtainable elsewhere in the game or are not a choice. Now let's have a look at version exclusive Pokemon, in which there are quite a few. Luckily, only a few of them are needed for the Unova Dex completion. Each game has only 7 Pokemon exclusive to it. If you are playing Pokemon Black, you cannot obtain the Solosis line, the Rufflet line, Thundurus, or Zekrom. If you are playing Pokemon White, you cannot obtain the Gothita line, the Vullaby line, Tornadus, or Reshiram. I'll also add in Landorus as you need both Tornadus and Thundurus to get it. Because of this, the max you can get with just one game is now 134. In these games, there are Pokemon that you can only evolve through trading with others. The Pokemon that evolve through trading in this game are Boldore, Girder, Carablast, and Shelmet. Because of this, Gigalith, Conkeldurr, Escavalier, and Excelgor are unobtainable with one game, bringing us to 130 obtainable. 130. That is the most Pokemon obtainable with just one game that is needed to complete the Pokedex. If you exclude Mythicals, that is still 22 Pokemon unobtainable. Now that we are missing 22 Pokemon from our goal, what if we add in the ability to trade with another game? Well, this helps us reach our goal by a lot. First off, if the 2 games are the 2 different versions, all version exclusive Pokemon can be gotten in one game. So that would add the 7 exclusives for each game, plus 1 more for Landers, bringing us up to 138, still 14 off. We can also trade the 4 trade Pokemon to add 4 more, bringing us just 10 off at 142. We could get 8 more Pokemon from gift Pokemon, the starters, and the fossils. Using another game, we could trade over a starter that we didn't pick, let's say Oshawott this time, making that Pokemon obtainable. Get the fossil we didn't pick, restore it, and trade it over. You could then start a new game, pick the final starter, then trade that over, and now we are 2 short at 150. 150. How are we not at 152 yet? We got everything, didn't we? Well, remember that I mentioned that Zorua and Zoroark are not obtainable outside of events? Because of this, we cannot obtain these Pokemon with just black and white. Since these are event only, I'll just say they don't count. So yay, we did it, we got all the non-event Pokemon in the Pokedex. But our journey isn't done! I wanted to complete the National Pokedex. So let's have a look at that, and oh boy does this suck. So now, the National Dex, which includes every Pokemon up to this point. Up to this point, there were a total of 649 Pokemon that existed. But that doesn't mean that that is the number we're aiming for, as I won't include mythical Pokemon. Because of this, we don't need to worry about Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, Deoxys, Manaphy, Fione, Darkrai, Shaman, Arceus, Victini, Keldeo, Meloetta, or Genesect, bringing our total we're aiming for to 636. Now we can also subtract Zorua and Zoroark, as we already know we can't get them, so we need to reach 634. We can also add the 150 Unova Pokemon that we already know we could get to our current total. Unova has a pretty big post-game. With new areas to explore, there are more Pokemon to collect. A total of 156 Pokemon can be either caught in the new areas, or can be obtained through evolution of Pokemon found in those areas. Excluding version exclusive and trade evolutions, there are also swarms that can happen on routes. 26 Pokemon can be found or evolved from Pokemon found through swarms, appearing in many areas. The Pokemon in the swarm is different and random each day. At first, this may seem worrying as you can only get a chance of a new one each day, but luckily there's a way to get around that. If you don't get a swarm of Pokemon you need, soft reset. As long as you haven't already saved that day, you can get a different Pokemon. Now this brings our total up to 333, with 301 left. Now is when I would talk about the version exclusives of the postgame. So let's do that! Of all the non-Unova Pokemon, each game has 10 extra Pokemon exclusive to it. If you are playing Pokemon Black, you cannot obtain the Caterpie line, the Paris line, the Mischievous line, the Poochyena line, or Minun. If you are playing Pokemon White, you cannot obtain the Weedle line, the Murkrow line, the Houndour line, the Shroomish line, or Plusle. Now luckily, we could just trade between the two games that were done with version exclusives, right? Well, yes, but there is something about this that is very interesting and actually gives Pokemon White an advantage. While there are 10 exclusive Pokemon to Black, there are actually 110 exclusives for Pokemon White. Where are these extra 100 Pokemon coming from? The White Forest. Depending on which version you play, there is a different area to visit, the White Forest in White and the Black City in Black. White Forest actually has Pokemon that you can encounter and catch if you want to. Because of this, there are 100 Pokemon exclusive to this version, whether they are Pokemon caught in the White Forest or you evolve or breed them. These Pokemon include 32 Kanto Pokemon, 17 Johto Pokemon, 35 Hoenn Pokemon, and 16 Sinnoh Pokemon. So while the Pokemon we have in Black is at 339, Pokemon White has 439. Now with trading between the two games, you can also just trade over Pokemon from the White Forest to Pokemon Black. So now we are at a total of 453 Pokemon, with 181 left to reach our goal. There are also certain Pokemon that need to be traded to evolve. These Pokemon are Clamperl, Dusclops, Electabuzz, Feebas, Graveler, Haunter, Kadabra, Machoke, Magmar, Onix, Poliwhirl, Porygon, Porygon 2, Rhydon, Seadra, and Slowpoke. Keeping in mind that I for some reason included 7 of these while counting the White Forest Pokemon, that gives us 10 more Pokemon we can add to the total. Now we have 463 Pokemon total, so only 171 left to obtain. Now for the fossil Pokemon. At Twist Mountain, there is a guy who will give you a random fossil each day. These fossils only contain the Gen 1 to 4 Pokemon, but you can get every fossil from this guy. This adds another 13 Pokemon to our total, bringing us to 476. Only 158 left to go. The final 2 Pokemon we can get right now are Magikarp and Gyarados. To get a Magikarp, you could buy it for $500 from this guy on Marvelous Bridge. Upon evolving, we reached a total of 478 Pokemon, 156 off our goal and at the max for Black and White. Now, you may be wondering, wait, we looked everywhere. How are we still missing 156 Pokemon? Well, to answer that, we need to look no further than Generation 4 and Generation 3. Generation 4, and by extension Generation 3, are the only way to get these 156 Pokemon. These Pokemon will take a while to get, as a lot of them are either late game or even post game in these games. They all would require that you either beat or get quite a bit into each of the Gen 4 and 3 games, and that is a large amount of time to get all those missing Pokemon. I'm not going to go in depth about them, as they really are just finding them in those games, catching them, then using the Poke Transfer to get them into Generation 5. Another thing to keep in mind while doing this is that you're going to need an original DS or DS Lite. You can't use the DSi or any 3DS because you won't be able to transfer from Generation 3 to Generation 4, which is required in a few areas, specifically to get a Regigigas, as you need a Regirock, Regice, or Registeel from a Generation 3 game. Once you go through the long and tedious process of transferring those Pokemon to Generation 5, you finally have all 634 obtainable Pokemon. But we aren't done yet. You see, I excluded mystical Pokemon as those aren't obtainable without events. There's still ways to get a lot of them. Let's talk about that. If you happen to have the WiiWare game My Pokemon Ranch, or you mod a Wii to get it since that store closed down, you can store Pokemon from Generation 4 games on your Wii. If you manage to store 250 Pokemon on the ranch, you could get a Fione by giving Haley a Leafeon. If you store 999 Pokemon in the ranch, which seems pretty tedious, and that's why I didn't do it, also because I don't have the game, but whatever. You could give Haley an egg and you'll get a Mew. Both the Fione and Mew can be transferred over to Diamond and Pearl, so you can transfer those to Black and White if you want. If you have the special pre-order bonus disc with Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube, you could get a Jirachi that you could put in a Generation 3 game, transfer it to Generation 4, then transfer it to Generation 5. If you have the Japanese bonus disc, you don't actually get Jirachi, you get a Celebi. The great thing about the Celebi is that it is a Fateful Encounter Celebi, meaning if you transfer it up to Generation 5, not only do you have a Celebi, which is already pretty cool, but you can also get a Zora from someone in the Game Freak office, so now you can obtain a Zora and Zoroark in your Pokedex. The final 3 obtainable mythical Pokemon you can get without cheating are Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus. These Pokemon are only obtainable now through the Void glitch in Diamond and Pearl. You can't use Platinum as invisible walls were added in parts of the Void. I'm not going to go in depth about the Void as it would take a while, so if you want these Pokemon, you could just Google it. Once you catch them, you could then transfer them up to your Generation 5 game. The final obtainable mythical is Manaphy. In Pokemon Ranger, you could get a Manaphy egg you could transfer to Generation 4 by completing the main story and getting the egg. The egg can only be obtained once per copy of the game. So if you redeemed it in the past, you can't get it again, even if you restart and play again. What great game design! With all the event Pokemon you could possibly obtain, you can get a total of 648. The only Pokemon we can't get is Deoxys in the Generation 5 Mysticals, but I'd say our journey is complete. We have completed the Generation 5 National Dex. What a journey! Don't do this. Do not do this. It isn't worth it, but it is possible. Now I know some of you are wondering, aren't you forgetting something? What about Pokemon Black and White 2? Could those games be helpful in any way? And the answer is actually a yes! I purposefully ignored Black and White 2 because I wanted to see if it would be possible without those games. Now it is time for us to have a look at Black and White 2. We're going to complete the regional dex for this game, then the national dex. To make things even more interesting, I'm not going to transfer a trade with other games unless I absolutely need to. Like how I ignored Black and White 2's existence while filling the Black and White Pokedex, I'm going to ignore Black and White while filling the Black and White 2 Pokedex. Pokemon Black and White 2 have a very different Unova Dex compared to the originals. The reason why is because you can actually catch Pokemon from other regions before the post-game. Because of this, there are 301 Pokemon in the Unova Dex, which is quite a lot. Now, some of them are mythical Pokemon, so thus they won't be counted. It's the same mythicals from last time, so we aren't going to count Genesect, Victini, Keldeo, or Meloetta. Because of this, we are going to aim for a total of 297. Now, obviously, we got some version exclusives to worry about when completing the Dex. Unfortunately for us, there are quite a few Pokemon that are version exclusives in the regional Dex. In Pokemon Black 2, you cannot get the Electabuzz line, the Numel line, the Skitty line, the Solosis line, the Rufflet line, and Reshiram. For Pokemon White 2, you cannot get the Magmar line, the Spoink line, the Baniri line, the Gothita line, the Volibee line, and Zekrom. So 13 exclusive to each game. This brings our total that we can get with one game down to 284. Just like with every Pokemon game, there are certain Pokemon that you can only get as gifts, and some of those Pokemon are choices. Luckily for us, there's actually only one choice that makes it impossible to get every single one playthrough, and that is the starters. If you're like me and pick the Pigs thing as your starter, you can't get the other starters as you'd expect, so that brings us down to 278. But that's really it. Every other gift Pokemon isn't a choice except for the fossils that you get in the post-game at the Nacrene Museum. You get the choice between the cover and plume fossils, but you can actually get the other fossil from a shop in Joint Avenue if you make it reach rank 15 and beat the Elite Four. The only other notable thing about the gift Pokemon in this game is that you can get a Zorua from Rude in Driftvale City, which you could use for this Pokedex, and you could trade it over to Black and White to get it in those games' Unova Dex instead of using the Japanese bonus disc to get a Celebi to use for it. Of course, there are Pokemon that require to be traded to evolve. Of course, Girder, Carablast, and Shelmet still need to be traded. We don't need to worry about Boldore as there's a trade just east of Nimbasa City where we can trade an Emolga for a Boldore and it will evolve. But there are more trade evolutions in this game. I already counted Electabuzz and Magmar when counting the version exclusives, but Onyx is also here and needs to be traded to evolve. This brings us down to 274. That is the most you could get in these games with only one game. Honestly, that's not that bad. So, what is the plan to get ourselves up to that 297? Well, let's say that you want to complete the Dex in Black 2. You want to first complete the main story of that game, get all the Pokemon you can get in it. Once you have gone as close as you can to completing the Dex with that game, you want to start a new game in the other version, pick a different starter, either trade it over now or wait until later, beat the game again, and if you didn't trade your starter over earlier, breed it in the daycare and trade that over. The reason we need to beat the game is so that we can get Reshiram. Once we do that, we can trade the White 2 exclusives over to Black 2, and that brings our total to 290. We can also do the trade evolutions to get Conkeldurr, Escavalier, Excelgor, and Steelix, bringing us to 294. Now that we've done that, we can start White 2 over again and get the final starter, bringing us to 297. Except we aren't at 297, we are actually at 294. The reason why is because I had forgot to mention this, but 3 Pokemon in the Unova Dex can't be caught in either Black 2 or White 2. We are still missing 3 Pokemon: Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus. These 3 cannot actually be obtained in these games. There are 2 ways to get them in the Pokedex. One involves Pokemon Dream Radar, a 3DS app that allows you to transfer Pokemon you get into Black and White 2. This is actually pretty useful in quite a few ways, as it allows you to get some Pokemon easier than without it, including Spiritomb. But because it isn't required and I hate myself, I'm not going to use it. The other way to get them in these games is to trade them from the original Black and White, which is what I did. Once we do all of that, we finally have all the Pokemon in the regional Dex that we could get without cheats. Now we still have the challenge of the national Dex, which, oh boy, is going to be a pain, just like with Black and White. So now for the National Dex. This section isn't going to be as long as the section for the Black and White National Dex, as we can use a lot of info from that part of the video to help us in this part. Also, again, I won't be counting the mysticals toward the end goal, so the goal is to reach 634 Pokemon. So in these games, there are a total of 56 Kanto Pokemon, 30 Johto Pokemon, 33 Hoenn Pokemon, and 23 Sinnoh Pokemon not obtainable in either Black 2 or White 2. So already, that's 142 Pokemon we can't get in these two, bringing our total down to 492 Pokemon we can get without using Generation 4 or 3. Now that doesn't mean those 492 Pokemon are easy to get, because of course not, it's Pokemon. We can add the 294 Pokemon we already know we can get with these games, as well as the 3 we need from the original Black and White. Now that brings our total obtained to 297, 195 more to get with these games. The post-games for these games are big, and there are quite a few Pokemon we couldn't previously catch in many areas. Of the Pokemon we have left, 112 of them can be obtained through encountering them in the new areas, outside of version exclusives. Swarms are back in this game. 14 Pokemon can be found in each version, along with 4 Pokemon exclusive to each game. Taking into account evolutions and trading, that is 44 Pokemon we can get through these swarms, bringing us to 453, just 39 off the total possible with these games. With version exclusive, there are a total of 11 exclusives, 7 in Black 2 and 4 in White 2. In Black 2, you cannot get the Glameow line, Latias, and technically Regice, but I'll get to that one in a sec. In White 2, you cannot get the Stunky line, Latios, and technically Registeel, but you also can't get the Gibble line. The reason for this is because after beating the Black Tower or White Tree Hollow, depending on your version, Benga gives you a shiny Pokemon. The Pokemon you get is Dratini in White 2 and Gibble in Black 2. While Dratini can be found at Dragon Spiral Tower by fishing in both versions, this Gibble is the only way to get Gibble in these games, thus making it exclusive to Black 2. Some may be saying that using the key system you can go to the Black Tower in White 2, so you can get Gibble in that version. But as far as I'm aware, that does not work. I also said that Regice and Registeel are technically version exclusives, and I said technically because you can catch all 3 in one game, but you still need the other game to do it because of keys. You see, after getting Regirock in the post-game, you unlock a key to go there again and get Regice or Registeel, depending on your version. You can also connect your game with the opposite version and trade keys. So if I want Regice but I'm playing Black 2, I can trade keys in the Unova Link menu to get the key to Regice. Select Regice's chamber instead of Regirock or Registeel, then I can get Regice. Once you have all of those, you can get Regigigas. Once you get all the exclusives in one game, you can just trade them to the other game, so that brings our total up to 465. It's 27 more. I'm not going to go over trade evolutions, as it's basically the same as it was with the original Black and White. Just know that after all of those, it adds 14 Pokemon, bringing us to 479. The final Pokemon we need are the remaining fossil Pokemon, which can be obtained in the same way as with Black and White, or with a store on Joint Avenue. This brings the most Pokemon we could get with just Black and White 2, with minor assistance from Black and White, of 492. Now we are at 492, pretty pog, but that's still 142 less than what's needed to complete the National Dex. Now you may have guessed what the solution to that issue is, and yes, it is the Generation 4 and 3 connection. I'm not going to go over it again, but just know that it is a long process spanning multiple games. Once you get all of those in one game, you can finally complete the National Pokedex. You might expect that after all those hours of playing the games to get a complete Pokedex, you would get a large reward. Well, let's go over what those rewards for this generation are. The rewards for completing the Pokedex in Black and White are... drumroll please. Not what I was expecting, but you know what? It will do. You will get 2 diplomas. One for clearing the regional Dex, and one for the national Dex. Big frickin' whoop, Game Freak! I went through so many games, caught so many Pokemon, to just get a diploma? Luckily, they upped the rewards in Black and White too. By seeing all the Pokemon in the regional Dex, you get access to the Nature Preserve. Completing the regional Dex gets you the Oval Charm, which increases the odds of an egg appearing when you leave Pokemon at the daycare. Pretty neat, but by completing the National Dex, you get the Shiny Charm, an item that will increase your odds of finding a shiny Pokemon from 1 in 8,192 to 1 in 2,730.6, which is still a pretty low chance of finding one, but it's about 3 times as likely that you'll encounter one now, so really neat reward. So just before I end the video, I want to say a few things. Number 1, again, even though I made this video, I still haven't done the Pokedex completion for this generation. As of writing the script, I am working my way through doing it in Pokemon Black and White 2, and I plan on doing it in the original games some point after. And I might even stream it on Twitch, which you should check out by the way, twitch.tv/Pokemario2401. Like I said before, the reason why I made this video before actually doing the challenge is because I was curious to see what it would involve. So I did research, put it in a document, and now I'm making a video giving details as to what you guys would need to do if you wanted to do this yourself. Number 2, there were a lot of things I had to research for this video and a lot of numbers I had to keep track of. So there is a chance that I may have miscounted or said something about catching certain Pokemon that may not be true. If there was a mistake I made, feel free to correct me in the comments. I'll be looking there often to see if I made mistakes. Number 3, if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll make a video doing this for Generation 6. And finally, number 4. Don't do this. Ever. This is a very long and tedious task that I would not recommend anyone do. Because it's just very long and kind of insane to try it do at this point. So unless you hate yourself enough to do this, please do not do it. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.